Hello, storytellers. Storytelling Ron. Happy Sunday morning before I go to church and then watch some football today and have some barbecue. You probably won't watch this video, but that's okay. It's a joyful, relaxing day. I don't know why I'm doing a YouTube video. Just feel like it because I'm joyful. I want to respond real quick to a couple of comments. I only get a couple, and I appreciate them for posting. I'm going to respond to them, and just for the fun of it. Okay, one of the things from Northern Light, one of the things I love about TTRPGs is that it brings people together no matter what you believe or not. And you get to know people and have fun, being compassionate and inclusive. What the world need more of, and it is wonderful social interaction. So yeah, I really wish that too. I really wish that too. I might be a little snarky. That's just my style and obtuseness and stuff. But I really do wish you were correct. You're not. And I was like that too, most certainly. Even recently, my channel was mostly D&D and Star Wars. But look at the world. They believe men can turn into women, and if you don't believe that, you're fired, you're outed, you're kicked out of conventions, gaming conventions. If you don't believe in trans, and I mean, I think the woke is getting weak now, but we need to rebuke it. And so I and many others are starting to rebuke it. The libertarians like Nerdrotic, Diversity and Dragons, and all these people are rebuking this woke crap because what you're saying there is niceties, but it's not happening that way. I'm going to say it again. One of the things I love about TTRPGs is that it brings people together no matter what you believe or not. Well, that's not true. I mean, and I understand the hope in that. But you have, I remember there was one famous guy, a GM, he was gay, but I actually thought he was really good on 5e. I remember he got totally canceled because he did the woman was a robot and he plugged her in and I don't know if it was a Star Wars one or whatever. I think you all know about, and he programmed an orgasm into her or something, and they're all like, what? And he got canceled after that. So, and he thought it was just kind of a funny thing. So no matter what you believe or not, and obviously Christian men are getting kicked out of things left and right. If you're Christian, Christian is not the word they use, right? Homophobic. That's the word they use, or anti-trans or whatever, or white supremacists. Those are all code words. Old white men. That's a code word for Christian. And that's what pagans do. I'm pointing at you. They use code words to pretend they're not going after the Christian. They're not going to say Christian because they know that's the big goal. That is the end goal. The reason they hate America and England and Europe is because of Christendom. They don't blame Africa for all the horrific slavery and voodooism and human sacrifices they did during the slave trade. And they certainly aren't going to bring this up ever. The 100 years that the white male Christians fought all in throughout Africa to end slavery. And they fought blacks and Arabs. They're not going to bring up this. And this is my next game. They're not going to bring this up because it's Christendom. They cannot do it. They will not. They hate Christendom. And Satan has got him where he wants them. And maybe you. The entire premise of all this attacks and culture is and the whole flux of illegal immigrants and the invasion by the Islamic males into Europe and into America is because of Christendom. They don't care about anything else. They're not like invading China. They're not invading each other like in Africa or something. They're going after white Christians as far as sending people and who they criticize. And I mean, Africa, they just kill each other. The Muslims just kill Christians. And you get to know people and have fun up to a point. But then a Christian, the entire premise of Christianity from Jesus Christ is to evangelize, plant churches. Like most of the New Testament is about the story of Jesus. And then after that, it's about the story of the church, building the church. What the world needs more is compassion and inclusiveness. What the world needs more of is Christianity. The world needs more Christianity. I know you're being told by Hollywood and the news and everything else how oppressive Christianity is because they hate Christianity. But the entire world you live in right now is because of Christians. It's because of Christians. Wherever you want to live right now is because Christians changed that and civilized it. The Fourth World RPG, the Dark Ages, the reason I'm doing it, the reason I'm so hyperbolic, is because of how ridiculous it's getting, the culture, right? We're grooming, we're sexualizing children. Slavery is bigger now than ever because no one is fighting it in Africa. It's huge now in Africa. Forcing people into slavery, raping girls is huge. Group rape now in Africa is a cultural thing. Islam is all about 4 wives and about conquering. Islam doesn't care about role-playing games because it doesn't need it. It doesn't evangelize. It conquers. It takes over and it breeds out, and it sends their young men into a land and floods them with their young men. Whether they did it as a slave army or today they're doing it as just sending them. They're all Islamic. They're all brainwashed to be Islamic, and they're all going to go to these countries and do Islamic things, which are, just look at October 6th or 7th to figure that out. And it is wonderful social interaction. Paganism is wonderful social interaction up until the bloodletting, the sacrifices, the sexual exploitation. Paganism is all about the grift. It's about pageantry. It's about, if you look at the modern day witch, she's got to put on makeup. She's got to look good. She's got to have all this pageantry, sexual pageantry to sell herself, to sell what she's trying to sell you, which is, I guess, her power or whatever. Anyway. So, I wish it was that light. I wish it was that thin and vapid, but it's not. Role-playing games is, it's a gateway tool now for pagans. It's a gateway tool to make us Christians act like pagans, even in our own lives, and to forget about evangelism and forget about building churches. And that's kind of what's happening in culture. We Christians are not evangelizing anymore, and we're not building churches, and we're not rebuking. Maybe I should bring up rebuke as the trinity of it: evangelism, rebuking, and churches. We're not rebuking the paganism, and so they're surgically permanently altering children now in sacrifice. So this book is, you all know this book, this Morkborg Intensity, okay, sort of anti-Christian mockery. But this book is the book, Hammer of Witches. This describes in the 14th century, how did they get the women, or to get the men to dismember themselves and act like women? How did they do that? They're confused in here by how did they get them to do that? How do they get them to sacrifice babies? How do they get that? How do they get them to do that? They're confused. The inquisitors are confused by how this is happening. In the evil of demonicry, the demonic evil that's going on in the pagan world, where they have allied themselves with Satan, pretend or real, doesn't really matter. They're still selling the sacrifice of children in entertainment, and for rituals, and for. How did they get them to do this? The insanity of it. And so they had to do a revival of and get a witch hunt going, because before that they weren't really going after the witches or anything. They were kind of letting them. They were, 12th, 13th century. It was all about the church, building the church, and all that. But there wasn't any sort of hardcore rebuking. And of course, there was the plague and all that, and having whatever issues they were having. But it wasn't until this that the birth of sort of the witch hunt happened. And I'm going to say it makes sense. I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of women were either falsely accused of witchery, because there's plenty of false accusers, which is not Christian. You do not do false accusations. I'm sure there are plenty of women that were falsely accused and were killed, but they did have a trial. It's called a witch trial. It's not called witch genocide. It's called witch trials because they were trials. So they certainly did investigations. And I'm sure some women were so oppressed that they had to stop whatever they were doing, and they had lived depressing of lives because they couldn't do their evil. Sure, you could write a story about that and how sad that is. They couldn't do their evil. But Today, Europe is the place to go for vacation, right? All the celebrities go to Italy and France. They're not going to Africa. They're not going to China. They might go to a couple places out in the oceans on Bali or whatever, but for the most part, they're going to Europe. Most of the regular people are going to Europe. I guess pagans are going to Bali. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. The other comment here, I'm going to respond to. And so I'm using, like, I wish you were right, and I hope one day that you will be right. But it's past that now. It's far past that. I've seen it. You've seen it. Every June is LGBTQ month in the RPG world, and if you say anything otherwise, you're out. You're out of the conventions. You can't GM anywhere. As a Christian role playing guy here, I cannot do videos with other RPG people. And I'm okay with that because I get where I'm being hyperbolic and radical and fanatical and extreme. I get it. I am, because look at the world. I'm not going to lull myself anymore into this pagan RPGs. The mechanics of the RPGs today are to lull us into being pagans. You can't bring your Christian faith into this. Don't bring your Christian faith into this. Don't bring religion and politics into this. Don't bring religion and politics into this, okay? Because we're all inclusive. No religion. Well, the only religion that would care about it is Christianity. Islam does not care about RPGs. Islam doesn't need to evangelize. It conquers. It forces you to submit. That's what Islam means, submit. Jews don't evangelize. I don't know about the other Hindus and all. They'll jump in. They don't care. Any god, any religion, they'll do. Paganism is paganism. So the only religion that would even care to partake in a social interaction and fellowship is Christianity. But the point of us Christians is to evangelize and rebuke sin, rebuke the sinners. And we know what sin is. We're being weak. And I'm part of that weakness too. I'm a recent Christian, so I get a little bit of an excuse. Anyway, let me go back. Let me go to another comment here, which kind of still ties in with all that I'm talking about. Okay, down at the bottom here, Photopithecrakos. I can tell you for a fact, I don't know about a fact, that every single RPG group I have played in would be absolutely fine with someone coming in and playing a Christian. How do you know that? Did you ask everyone? That's a very strange comment right there. That premise to me is absolutely false and can be demonstrably falsified. Do you ask everyone about that? I doubt. That for a fact. I doubt. I'm factually sure you never asked everyone about that. If that is really what they wanted to play, no. This statement right here is not good. Okay, for you, you're lying to yourself. I can tell you for a fact. Okay, don't ever start a statement like that. That every single RPG group, fact and every. That sounds like an atheist. You sound like an atheist. Or an agnostic who thinks they're agnostic, but they're not. I have played with absolutely. Wow, you got a lot of absolutes there. Absolute, fact, every. With someone coming in and playing a Christian, if that is really what they wanted to play. And then you soften it up. If that is really what they wanted to play. Well, how do you know? How do you play a Christian? Do you know? Because I know. Evangelize, rebuke sin, plant churches. So can a Christian come in here and rebuke others for, say, being gay? Or let's say the DM introduces two dads. Can this Christian monk go up to those two dads and say, this is a sin that you are living in. You must give up this sin and go, each of you join with a wife and the children thereof and dedicate your life to that and give up the sin of you two sexualizing and lusting after each other and other men. Can a Christian do that in the game? Because that is what a Christian should be doing. And I know here later on you say something else that's wrong. And knowing this community quite well, the vast majority would definitely not exclude someone for their beliefs alone. Well, beliefs alone means you're quiet and don't say anything to anyone. It would take hateful behavior on their part to lead them to be excluded. Aha! So if a Christian goes and rebukes the two dads, you have decided that is hateful behavior and they're not allowed to be there. But yet every Christian should be doing that. In the game. Yeah, in the game. If there are two dads, they should go up to him and say, this is a sin. You should stop doing this and you should rebuke this sin, or you should repent of this sin and join in the Savior Jesus Christ. And you would term that hateful behavior. So my question to you is, would you let a player play an atheist at your table in your game? No, I would not. With no intention to convert during the campaign. Well, atheists they have every intention to convert. Atheists, well, first off, an atheist can lie to me because they have no rule that says they can't lie or bear false witness, right? So right there, I would say, I don't want you in my game. Only Christians. I mean, I say outright, out loud, I only want Christian men and women too, but Christians, and I even tell you what kind of a Christian I am so that you, as Christians, you know where I stand. I'm a little open to say Catholics and Orthodox because in the game, I'm not talking theology, but I certainly know that their behavior is going to be very, very similar to mine, that we have differences in the deep stuff. But, no, I would not want an atheist in my game. And I say it out loud though. See, you guys don't say that though. You guys just say, what'd you say here? We're absolutely fine with anyone coming in. We're so diverse and tolerant, but that's a lie. That's what I'm getting at too. That's a lie. You guys you're lying to yourself and you're lying to me and you're lying on this post. That is not true. I'm a Christian. I want Christian gamers. You're an atheist agnostic and you don't want Christians being Christian. Right? Can I go into your game as a cleric and rebuke sin and tell you to repent of that sin? Sin being the murder over just murdering people, sexualizing people, being a trans, being a gay. If I see a gay NPC, I'm going to go up and tell them that is a sin and they need to repent of that. That's a Christian. I'm going to tell everyone that they're gods or demons and false and stop worshiping these things. That is a Christian. Okay, you're saying, Christians are, and us Christians sadly are saying this too. We got to be good and be nice and save the town. That is not Christianity. That doesn't do anything. That's like giving them a fish and not fishing for themselves, because you're going to go save the town, and guess what? They're going to go, in reality, they're going to go right back to worshiping another beast or another creature or another oppressor. They're going to go right back to it. If you don't have a church and Christianity and God in there, you will end up a tyranny, a communist, tyranny, despot, whatever. Look at the world today. Every place that is not influenced by Christianity is a Marxist, socialist, dictatorship, whatever, or Islamic, where you can't say anything against Islam. You have to submit to Islam. And in communist, Marxist, you don't have freedom. And the wealth of the world is coming from the Christian lands. I will stand by that. Now, there's a couple of little outliers, but what are they doing? They're living off of the things that we have brought forth to the world. So, well, you're wrong there. Foti patakros. So that's my little, man, I could just keep talking on and on, which maybe I will. So yeah, that's my ministry in this role-playing game culture. I know I'm an outlier. I'm an incredible outlier again, but I'm having so much fun. I'm finding a few just fine jewels in the mine, the ore of this RPG culture. And I really appreciate them all for jumping in and seeing what I'm trying to do and what they can do with it as well. And if you want to take any of this as a Christian man, if you want to take any of my game rules or mechanics and put them into your Morkborg, D&D chat, let's see if this guy, go to the table with this guy and bring in evangelism and rebuking the sin and planning churches, and let's see how open and tolerant this dude is. Feel free. Evangelism, rebuking, planning churches. That is Christianity. If we don't rebuke what's going on in the culture today, they're going to take our children, they're going to imprison us, and imprison you, non-believers too. They don't care. They'll get you first, and then get us Christians next. That's what Islam is. They will. The liberals of the day helped support Islam in many countries like Lebanon, when it used to be a sort of a cool Christian European kind of Mediterranean state. But the liberals were so open and tolerant of Islam that they gave them more power in the governance. And finally, the Muslims took over, oppressed, killed all the liberals. I'm sorry, I'm chuckling. Killed the liberals, literally executed the professors and whoever, and subdued the Christians into a slave status. And so that's what they have today in Lebanon. And we don't talk about that. Gabriel Bridget talks about that. She's here in America, and she runs Act for America, and that's where I learned that from her. And she survived it. She escaped it. So Christianity, we need to bring it into the games, the RPGs, and I hope if you're a Christian man playing RPGs, look, I'm not here to tell you can't play these things, but I'm here to tell you can. For the Lord RPG has mechanics, so you can bring them into these type of crazy games. I love these games. Trust me, I love Star Wars and Hyperborea and D&D and fantasy and all that, and Aliens and Conan. I love all that stuff. But we have to bring in our Christianity. We have to steal. I'm going to make another video about this. Steal their stuff, steal our stuff back, steal it, make an RPG that's for the Lord RPG, like a setting with Christian and having Christian mechanics in it, because it has worked in medieval times. The main thrust of medieval history, which is being erased, is evangelism and church planning and building cathedrals. And all the priests in the Catholic Church and the the Protestant Church, all of those grew the medieval history that we know and love today. And all of those were the struggle against paganism and witches and demons and knights and chivalry and protecting people and building up communities with taverns and inns and merchants and blacksmiths and all that stuff, and the artistry, all of that was built up because of Christianity. And universities and all the fiction that we have today that we love and enjoy is built up because of Christianity, because we civilized it all. I don't know too many people playing like the Roman Empire, like pre 300 AD. Does anyone have a role-playing game where it's like all about the Roman Empire? Because that is brutal and scary and creepy and pagan with no Jesus in it. Or at least before 100 or 80 AD. Like Greek mythology RPG. There's not that many. I mean, I know we take it, but we kind of use it during medieval fantasy or whatever. But anyway, get in the weeds there, just because I feel like talking. All right, that's it for this video. I just wanted to respond to those comments, but just also keep repeating and preaching this little ministry that we're trying to build and grow and get across, because no one else is doing this. No one else, right? I don't know of any other Christian RPG are doing this. They're all being consumed into the pagan RPGs and into the regular RPGs, and they're not being bold about speaking out. I don't want to say against them. I'm not really against them. They're just pagan, they're lame, pagan, and boring. And you're all are talking about boring stuff. That's just boring to me now. And I've been doing this for 45 years, RPGs, and I got all these RPGs over there, and I know how to play them all, or most of them. And I GM, and I walk the walk in my GMing, right? I do actual plays here on YouTube. I do the music. I do the maps. I do the miniatures. I do the game rules. I GM, and I don't edit them. I just put them out as we play and deal with all the technical issues and the audio issues and the player issues, and I don't edit them. And the reason I don't edit them, well, one, I'm lazy, but two, I want you to see a real game, like a real the tedium and slowness of a game, but also the fun and excitement, So yeah, I'm fine with it, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of these people, they talk the talk, but I just don't see them doing anything, or they just do same old, DMing, boring kind of. Here's your monsters and fight them, and here's your treasure and go back to town. What do you get up another level, and here's another story, go do that, and I'll act out a couple of roles, make it silly. I don't know. All right, that's it for now. I'm gonna keep going as I always do, and I'm working on I'm already working on second edition, only because I want to consolidate the rules, and I do love the whole die rank system now. it's in there, but I want to extrapolate out on it to explain it more for second edition. But yeah, all right, I'm keep going. Happy Sunday. I'm gonna watch some football today because I don't see any no religion in politics. Oh, there's plenty of Christianity, plenty of players speaking for the Lord and God and the Bible verses and stuff. And I heard the Ravens coach brought out the Bible verse. That's awesome. So see, I like football again now. It's nice again. All right. So in the game of life, whether it's football or role-playing games or medieval armored combat or video games, roll. And by rolling the holy dice, you evangelize, you rebuke, and you help build the church, whether in the game or in real life. The game is just a practice platform, like a sword pal for knights for sword fighting. The role-playing games is fun, but it's practice for our real life, and it should be fun. So make sure it's fun. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing with 4 RPG. So in the game of life, roll holy dice.